Topics in the following podcast contain graphic content. Viewer discretion is advised.
911, where's your emergency?
Hi, it's Boca with a transfer for the Jupiter Inlet. Caller is the father. He's saying that two 14-year-old boys are missing from that area.
Okay, they went out on a boat offshore this morning. They haven't checked in since 11:25.
Okay, they're in a 19-foot...
Center console.
Okay.
Open fishing boat.
What is your son's name?
Perry Cohen.
Okay, and you said the other boy is who?
Austin Stefano.
And they're how old?
They're 14 years old.
And you haven't heard from them in how long?
The mother of Austin hasn't heard from them since 11:30 this morning, and usually he checks in and is told to check in on a regular basis.
You know, we had a storm before too.
Up in Jupiter?
Yes.
We had no idea they were going off. The mother told us
okay, and what is
offshore.
Austin's number?
So you want his
mother's
mother's
number? Her name is Carly?
Yes. Am I going to get to Marine Patrol or a regular officer?
Well, let's start off with this officer calling you because you may end up having to deal with maybe even the Coast Guard if they're out in the water.
Welcome to J is for Justice podcast. If live breaking news and following true crime is your thing, then please consider subscribing to my channel. And if you like what you see in my videos, please consider giving them a thumbs up. July 24th, 2015, Jupiter, Florida. Austin Stefanos and Perry Cohen, two 14-year-old boys who were best friends, went missing from Jupiter, Florida after taking out their boat onto the Jupiter Inlet. The two boys were avid fishermen and experienced boaters. The story actually begins on Thursday, July 23rd. Austin Stefanos and Perry Cohen decided to take out Austin's boat the next day. About a month before this incident, Austin had received this boat as a gift from his grandfather. Austin rounded up $100 in gas money, and Perry asked his stepfather to borrow his GPS. On Friday, July 24th, after spending the night at Austin's house, Austin and Perry stopped at the Jib Yacht Club and Marina and purchased $109 worth of fuel. Shortly after that, they're seen on another security camera breaking the promise they made to their parents that they would not leave the inlet as they head out past the Jupiter Inlet and into the Atlantic Ocean. At 11:25, Austin texts his mother, Carly, to check in with her. It's their agreement that Austin will text every 1 to 2 hours to ensure her of his safety. AT&T later confirmed that Austin's phone pinged off an offshore tower at this time. It's also later revealed that Perry's phone was broken and the boys had agreed to share the use of Austin's phone. Therefore, no cell phone or communication records for Perry exist for that day. Around 1 p.m., the National Weather Service issued a special marine warning that warned of heavy rains and winds in excess of 40 miles per hour. Between 2 and 3 p.m., Carly Black attempted to reach her son Austin multiple times but never received a response. Carly then notified her ex-husband, Austin's father, Blue Stefanos, that she had been unable to reach Austin for the last hour. She noticed that a huge storm was rolling in, and she was starting to become very concerned. Austin's dad, Blue, was calm at first. He decided to take his own boat out and search for the boys. In fact, a similar sudden storm had appeared just the day before, and Austin, being an experienced boater, had successfully avoided it, and Blue assumed that the same was true for this day. If you are not familiar with Florida's summer weather, it's definitely our rainy season, and it rains nearly every single day without fail. These rains are torrential downpours, and they only last for about an hour, if that. So Blue had confidence that his son knew how to check on the weather and knew what to do to avoid getting caught up in it. Around 4 p.m., Carly finally notified Perry's mother, Pamela, that the boys hadn't been heard from. And now it's been over 2 hours since they have last been contacted. At 4:23 p.m., Nick Korniloff, Perry's stepfather, calls 911 to report the boys missing. The Coast Guard is then notified, and a massive search and rescue ensues. Both families take to the media immediately to raise awareness through the news and social media. Then on Sunday, July 26th, Austin's boat was identified by the Coast Guard around 65 miles offshore near Daytona, Florida. The engine cover and the Yeti cooler are missing. One life jacket was found near the boat, but it's unclear how many had been on board. The Coast Guard sent the coordinate of the boat out to a retrieval team, but the boat was later unable to be located, and it was once again lost to the ocean. On this same day, a private pilot, Bobby Smith, believes that he saw one of the two boys floating on a piece of debris about 300 miles north of the Jupiter Inlet. Bobby Smith said in an interview, quote, "It was obvious it was a person laying on their back. When we circled, both arms came up. It was a shock." Bobby took a picture of the debris and radioed for help. But when he looked back down, the photo he took was taken at about 3,000 feet, so it's very blurry. It's hard to say what's in the photo, but Bobby seemed to be sure that it was a person. Let me know what you think in the comments below of what you see in this photo. On Tuesday, July 28th, a glimmer of hope arose as a white cooler was spotted off the Georgia coastline. However, that was a huge letdown, as it ended up being a large piece of styrofoam. The search for the boys continued. On the same day, Petty Officer Mark Barney told USA Today the primary search area has moved north of Jacksonville and stretches as far as Savannah, Georgia, and Charleston, South Carolina, hundreds of miles from Jupiter. Officer Mark Barney would not speculate on how long the boys could survive if they were out in the water, but the Coast Guard Captain Mark Fetter told CNN that at some point they would have to suspend their search based on science. He went on to explain that water temperature, weather, and the will to live are just some of the factors used in determining when a sea search is concluded. After 7 days of no new evidence of the boys, the Coast Guard called off their search for the two missing Florida teens. The search totaled over 50,000 square miles of ocean, larger than the size of North Carolina. Both families knew that the Coast Guard's search was going to end, and they had already raised over $100,000 to fund their own private search parties. But sadly, nothing new came out of these private searches. 16 days after the boys went missing, the families announced in a joint statement that with, quote, absent new information, continuing the search is not practical. The statement also read, "We love our boys and we want them home. Today our hope becomes our prayer that one day Perry and Austin will be returned to us. We thank everyone for their dedicated efforts and support. We will never stop looking for our boys, Austin and Perry. We ask that you join us in prayer that one day Perry and Austin will be reunited with their families." Nearly 8 months after the boys went missing, Austin's boat was found. On board, Austin's phone was found, but it had spent the last 8 months submerged underwater and Apple engineers were not able to recover any of the data from the phone. And as of today, July 28th, 2021, Austin and Perry have never been recovered. There are two foundations that stand in honor of Austin and Perry. Both foundations are dedicated to raising awareness and promoting educational programs designed to improve voter safety.